you ever stop and think how much of our lives we spend trying to be liked? Like, really think about that. From the time we're little, we're taught to be ourselves, be confident, be unique, be who you are. But then somewhere along the way, there's this invisible little rule that says, okay, but don't be too much, don't be too loud, don't have too many opinions, don't make people uncomfortable, don't be too confident because someone might think you're full of yourself. And I think that's something a lot of people learn really early, especially women. How to make ourselves easier to like, how to read the room, how to soften ourselves, how to make sure everyone around us is comfortable. And yet, we call it being nice. But sometimes I think it's actually just being afraid of being disliked.
Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free, assumption-checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest.
And I've been thinking about this a lot lately because one of the hardest things to accept is that you can be a good person and someone can still not like you. You can have good intentions and someone can still misunderstand you. You can show up as your authentic self and someone can still decide that you're not their person. And for some reason, we treat that like a problem we need to fix. If someone doesn't like us, our first instinct is, what did I do? How do I change this? How do I make them understand me? How do I convince them that I'm actually a good person? And from personal experience, I just think that is such an exhausting way to live. Because the truth is, you could be the kindest, most thoughtful, most genuine person in the world, and someone is still going to have an opinion about you. And that's not because you did something wrong. It's because everyone is seeing you through their own experiences, their own insecurities, their own expectations, and their own perspective. Someone's opinion of you is not always a reflection of you. Sometimes it's a reflection of them. And social media has made this even harder because now we're not just worried about the people we know, we're worried about strangers, people we've never met, people who know a tiny piece of our life and somehow feel qualified to decide who we are. And that's such a strange thing because imagine walking into a room full of strangers and asking every single person, do you like me? You would never do that. That would be exhausting and kind of weird. But somehow we do the digital version of that every day. We post something, we share something, we put ourselves out there, and then we wait to see how people react. And sometimes we forget that the entire point of putting yourself out there is that not everyone is going to get it. Not everyone's going to connect with it. Not everyone's going to get you. And honestly, that's a good thing. Because if everyone likes you, I don't know if you're actually being yourself. You're probably being a version of yourself that's been carefully edited for approval. I find that I think about this a lot when it comes to creating, whether it's content, a business, art, a podcast, literally anything. The people who are willing to create something are also the people who are willing to be judged. Because the second you put something out into the world, someone's going to have an opinion. Someone might love it, someone might hate it, someone might completely misunderstand it. And you have to decide, am I going to let the possibility of someone liking me stop me from being myself? Am I going to accept that being myself means I won't be everyone's favorite person? And I think that's where confidence actually comes from. Not everyone liking you, not everyone approving of you, maybe from being criticized. Confidence comes from knowing who you are even when someone else doesn't. Because if your entire identity depends on everyone agreeing with you, you're going to spend your whole life trying to manage something you can't control. Other people, their opinions, their perceptions, their feelings. The older I get, the more I realize that being yourself is actually a bit uncomfortable, because the real version of you is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Coffee, tea, whatever your drink is, not everyone likes the same thing. And we don't sit there and think, wow, that person doesn't like coffee. I guess coffee must be bad. No, we just understand that people have different preferences, and somehow we forget to apply that same logic to ourselves. Maybe the goal isn't to become someone everyone likes. Maybe the goal is to become someone you actually like being, someone you're proud of, someone you don't have to constantly edit, because at the end of the day, the people who are meant for you aren't going to need you to shrink yourself to fit into their life. And the people who aren't, that's okay too, because you were never meant to be everyone's cup of tea. You were just meant to be yours. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She's probably talking to other guys. Follow along on socials at SPTTOG Podcast. We'll chat next week.